Hello! Today we are dissecting a YouTube video script titled, "You're seeing this video because you're about to do the unimaginable." It's a blend of spiritual motivation, some quantum mechanics, and nervous system regulation.
It's a heavy mix. Honestly, reading it felt a bit like a fever dream.
That feeling is probably intentional, but that brings us right to the first point. The narrative progression is fighting against a kind of narrative loop.
Okay.
The script relies on this cyclical affirmation, which, it risks fatiguing the listener before they ever get to the actionable part.
It definitely loops. I mean, it feels very circular. But isn't that the point of this genre?
How so?
It feels like a hypnosis track. You hear, "You are chosen," then something is shifting, and then 5 minutes later it's, "You are ready." It's trying to put you in a trance.
It is.
If we break that loop, don't we kind of break the spell?
That is the tension, exactly. A trance is great for mood, but on a platform like YouTube, a loop can just look like stalling.
Right.
The script keeps hitting the same premise. Something is moving beneath the surface. At the start, then you carry something rare in the middle, and it ends with, "You were never designed for an ordinary life."
It's the same note played 3 different ways.
Yes, and it creates this treading water effect. The argument just doesn't move forward for long stretches.
It's like a song that never quite gets to the chorus. You're stuck in the verse.
That's a great way to put it. The listener is told who they are over and over again, but they have to wait way too long to find out what to do about it.
So what's the fix?
The suggestion is to restructure the script. Move it to a what, why, how progression instead of just repeating the who.
Okay.
You establish that "you are chosen" hook once, really firmly at the beginning. Then you immediately move into the mechanics of the shift.
Okay, so let's workshop that a bit. The writer has these symptoms scattered all over the place. There's the electric restlessness at 3 a.m. in the intro.
Right.
And then way later, they talk about the dark night of the soul. My guess is they sprinkled them in to keep the listener nodding along. You're saying that's a mistake?
For pacing it is. I'd say you consolidate them. That whole electric restlessness section should be combined with the dark night of the soul part. They're describing the same thing. Treat it as one cohesive block, like the diagnosis.
You get the full diagnosis first.
Exactly. You don't want your doctor to tell you one symptom, talk about the cure, then go back to another symptom. It's confusing.
That makes sense. It actually hits harder if you stack them. You're up at 3 a.m., you feel isolated, you're in the dark night. That's a real punch.
It validates the pain in one heavy blow. And there's another redundancy.
I think I know which one.
In the middle, it says, "The people in your immediate field probably haven't detected the shift." But earlier, it mentioned observers stopping and questioning.
Yeah, I caught that too. It's a direct contradiction. 1 minute people see it, the next they don't.
So just cut that middle part about people not detecting the shift. And here's another concrete move, the seed in soil analogy.
Yeah, the one about action versus just visualizing.
Move it. Move it much earlier in the script.
Oh, really? I thought it was a nice closing metaphor.
It is, but the first half of the script is completely abstract. It's all energy, feeling, knowing. The audience needs something tangible to hold on to.
A visual.
A seed in the dirt is tangible. It gives the listener a visual anchor before they get totally lost in the ether.
That's a perfect transition. Because ether is a very polite word for what's going on here. This script is dense.
It is, which is our second critique point, anchoring the abstract terminology. The sheer density of these abstract metaphors, it creates a real barrier to entry for anyone who isn't already, fluent in this specific vocabulary.
Oh, for sure. It's very high context. I circled a bunch of invisible architecture, collapsing the wave function, frequency, bandwidth, energetic signature, the field.
Right.
A casual viewer might think they've clicked on a sci-fi video by mistake.
And look, the problem isn't the words themselves. It's how they're used. They're all stacked back to back. There's that line, "Your consciousness has been recalibrating itself, tuning to a bandwidth."
It just becomes a wash of sound. It's word salad.
Exactly.
But isn't that the jargon of this community? I mean, if you remove the word frequency, are you going to lose the audience that's specifically searching for frequency?
You don't remove it. You define it. The suggestion is to ground these spiritual terms with visceral, physical descriptions.
Okay.
You have to make sure that frequency and vibration are tied to specific emotional or physical states.
Okay, let's try that. Frequency is the big one. How do you make that physical without it sounding like a physics textbook?
Well, think about it. How does a low frequency actually feel in your body?
Heavy? Sluggish, maybe?
Sluggish is better, but go deeper.
A tightness? A knot in your stomach?
There you go.
So instead of just saying broadcasting a frequency, you describe that physical sensation, the tightness in your chest or the shallow breath that signals fear. That is the broadcast.
Oh, I see. So you're translating the woo-woo into biology. The knot in your stomach is the signal. That clicks instantly.
Exactly. Now look at the nervous system section. The script talks about survival mode and the reptilian brain, which is good, it's biologically accurate.
But it feels totally disconnected from all the talk about frequency.
It feels like two different scripts were just pasted together.
Right. One's spiritual, one's biology.
Just have to connect them. Explicitly state that survival mode is the low frequency. And while we're on terms, we have to talk about collapsing the wave function.
Yeah, that one gets thrown around a lot. It's basically a fancy synonym for making a choice.
But the script just leaves it as this quantum abstraction. It needs to be clarified immediately with a real-world example.
So, like...
Collapsing the wave function is just like deciding to take the job offer.
Exactly. Until you decide, all futures are possible. The moment you decide, only one becomes real.
That helps. But honestly, even with that, I get stuck on the science of it all. This script leans so hard on quantum physics to prove its point.
Which leads us to the third, and I think maybe the most critical point, the scientific metaphor versus literal fact.
The script conflates quantum mechanical principles with psychological phenomena, and that could alienate a more discerning audience.
I really struggled with this part. It takes the observer effect, the idea that particles exist in probability until they're observed,
Right.
and presents it as a literal explanation for manifestation. It says you're collapsing the possibilities that match the frequency.
It calls it the mechanics of what happens. It's claiming this is the literal machinery of reality.
Okay, but here's my pushback on that. The target audience for this video wants to believe that. They want to think their mind literally shapes matter. If we water that down to a metaphor, if we say it's like quantum physics, do we deflate the whole thing? Do we kill the magic?
That's a really valid concern for the genre, but you risk losing all credibility. If a viewer has even a high school level of physics knowledge, they might just dismiss the entire video as pseudoscience.
And then they miss the good stuff about the nervous system.
Right. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
So we can keep the magic without, lying about the science.
That's the goal. The suggestion is to frame quantum physics as an analogy for the human experience, not the literal mechanism.
Okay.
Just use phrases like just as or much like to bridge that gap.
Okay, so let's try to redraft that transition. Right now it says, this isn't just a quirky feature of subatomic particles. This is a fundamental principle of how reality operates. Big claim.
Very big. How about this? We see a poetic mirror of this in quantum physics. Just as a particle requires an observer to take form, your future requires your conscious attention to manifest.
A poetic mirror. I like that. It's beautiful. It invites you to see the parallel instead of forcing you to accept a scientific falsehood.
And it protects the writer. It lets you keep the nervous system section as the scientific anchor, because that part is biologically true.
So the brain stuff is the hardware, the quantum stuff is the poetry. Okay, that makes sense. But speaking of hardware, we need to talk about what the listener is actually supposed to do.
Yes, that brings us to our fourth point, actionable utility versus mysticism. The script hides its most valuable, practical advice, the necessity of action, behind way too much preamble about receiving.
I loved the action section. There's that line, consciousness without action is fantasy. That's a bumper sticker. It's brilliant, but
where is it?
It's at the end. It's buried after the sales pitch for the guide.
So the listener might just tune out during all the woo sections before they even realize there's practical advice coming.
I wonder if that was on purpose. Like only the people who stick around for 12 minutes deserve the real secret. Is that a valid strategy?
In a monastery, maybe. On YouTube, absolutely not. Retention charts are brutal.
You have to give value early.
You have to earn the right to go deep. So the suggestion is simple. Bring the action section forward. Make it the how of the script.
So you want to move do something to the front of the line? Instead of feel it, believe it, receive it, then do it?
I want to weave it into the mechanism itself. Right after you explain the observer effect, you introduce action. You could pivot with something like, observation is not passive. Observation is action. And this is where most spiritual teachings miss the mark.
Oh, that's sharp. That redefines observation immediately.
And use that lottery winner example earlier. The script mentions that lottery winners often lose their money because their nervous system isn't energetically ready.
Right. They go broke.
Use that to explain why the nervous system needs to be built up through action. You make the training grounds of failure feel purposeful. If you tell people you are failing right now because you are training your nervous system to hold the wealth.
That is incredibly motivating.
But if you save that for the end, they might have already clicked off in despair.
It recontextualizes suffering. I'm not failing. I'm conditioning. That's powerful. Okay, so structure, language, science, action. What's left? Oh, the pitch. That really jarred me.
Yes, let's talk about. Our fifth point is the integration of the call to action.
Or lack of integration.
The marketing prompts, they disrupt the immersive transmission quality of the whole piece.
It really does. I was in it, I was feeling the invisible architecture, and then suddenly, smash cut, drop a comment below with this exact phrase. And it's linked in the pinned comment.
It felt like a commercial break.
In the middle of a meditation.
Yeah.
It just shatters the whole mystical tone and reminds you you're just watching another YouTube video.
Exactly. It snaps you right out of the trance the writer works so hard to create.
But you have to be realistic, right? It is a YouTube video. The algorithm wants comments. The creator needs to sell their guide. So how do you sell without selling out the tone?
You weave the CTA into the narrative. You make it feel like a ritual, not a request for metrics.
So, for example,
for starters, keep the external link mentions for the very end or just for the description box. Don't say pinned comment.
Okay, but what about the comment prompt itself? How do you mask comment below?
You turn the comment into a commitment. Instead of comment below with this phrase, try something like make a declaration, whether you write it down, speak it aloud, or leave it as a mark in this digital space. Declare, I am ready.
Leave it as a mark in this digital space. That's really good. It sounds cosmic, not like engagement bait.
Exactly. And the same thing for the product pitch. Right now it says, I've put together everything I know. It's linked below. It's very transactional.
It's an infomercial. But wait, there's more.
Try this instead. This requires mastering 9 specific frequencies. For those ready to study that architecture deeply, the blueprint is available to you. But for now, focus on this moment.
The blueprint is available to you. That preserves the authority. It's there if you're worthy, not please buy my thing.
It keeps the authority high and the desperation low.
Wow, okay. We've covered a lot of ground there. We basically took the whole engine apart and put it back together.
We did. So, to recap for our listeners, the source material is emotionally resonant, but it really suffers from that repetitive looping and, the abstract word salad.
It had the vibe, but not the chassis.
To improve, the writer has to restructure for a linear progression. Diagnosis, then mechanism, then action. And don't loop back.
And the language?
The science, specifically quantum physics, should be framed as a metaphor, just as, much like. That's what will maintain credibility. And the practical advice about action needs to come much earlier.
Don't bury the lead.
And finally, the sales pitch has to be woven in subtly to preserve that mystical tone.
So if the writer's sitting down right now with a red pen, what are the first 3 things they should do?
The final actionable steps. Number 1, create a storyboard. Map the journey from feeling chosen to taking action without looping. If you find yourself writing, "You are special" for the 3rd time, stop.
Cut the loop. Got it.
Number 2, audit the script for the word frequency. Replace half of them with a concrete physical or emotional descriptor. Use words like tightness, expansion, heat, heaviness.
Grounded in the body.
And number 3, rewrite the observer effect section using that metaphorical language, and then move the inspired action section, specifically that consciousness without action is fantasy line, to the first half of the script.
That's a very clear roadmap. I actually want to see the new version of this video. I think with these changes, it could genuinely go viral.
It absolutely has the potential. We'd invite the listener to submit the revised draft for a second look.
Please do. We're rooting for you.
That concludes our critique. Thank you for listening.